Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem. So the question is on seeing our elders in dreams and what's the reality of dreams? Is there any substance to it? Can people actually predict the future through dreams? Should we get into this or not? So dreams are part of, you could say, the REM sleep. Everyone has some sort of dreams, sometimes whether we remember them or not. But in Islam, we categorize them. Some of them are called adghath wa ahlam, which are just, you could say, random things that maybe we saw in the day. Maybe we were fearful of something, a car accident, or we had one, and then we saw that in the dream, or someone we hung out with in the day. So adghath wa ahlam is like just a mixture of different, you could say, thoughts and ideas and feelings. And those are the majority of dreams for people. But then in our Islamic classification, there's also this thing called ru'ya. Ru'ya is a vision. It's something that determines, has some reality, substance, or some symbolism to it. For example, Yusuf alayhi salam in the Quran, he saw different stars and the sun and the moon bowing to him. And those, when his father heard the dream, he said, this is a symbol of greatness. This is actually a ru'ya. This is a vision. This is telling you about your future. Right? So there are these true visions that any person can have. You don't have to be a prophet to have it. And some people have this extra gift. For example, one of those non-Muslims, his name's Edgar Casey. He was famous for this type of gift where he would just go to sleep and, learn different things, or in his sleep would reply to different things and all that. So what's actually going on with ru'yas? And how do we determine if it's actually ru'ya or not? So one scholar, Shah Waliullah, he mentions, it's a good categorization. He mentioned there's a alamul khalq, which is this, you could say, time, space, reality, right? You see the trees behind me, you see the little hills and all that. And then there's this other place called alamul amr, right? The realm of the command. The realm of command doesn't have any limitation of time and space. And so when we sleep, right, we have the ability to access that place that's not contingent upon time and space. What does that mean? That means that future events in that space have already happened. Past events have already happened. Spirits of people, ruh, are roaming around, etc., ruah, and all that. So it's a place that's beyond this dimension. It's another dimension that we have access to. Some people, even in waking state, are spiritual enough that they access that place, and some people in sleep, they access that place. So ru'yas are coming from that place, either through symbols or direct visions of what's going on. This brings us to another question, which is, are the people that we see, let's say I saw my dead grandmother or someone else, are those the actual people or not? That all depends, right? So ru'ya, one way you can determine it is if it keeps coming up, right? And it's very vivid and detailed, and it's something that touches your ruh. But for most people, they don't have a spiritual connection. The people, when you train with dhikr, when you train with these spiritual exercises, then you start seeing a scene of more and more of these visions happening, and more clarity about which ones they are. And some people have this gift, and people can actually hone this gift too. So it depends. Sometimes the people that you see may not be real, and sometimes those ruh, yes, you're actually seeing visions of, let's say, someone recently died and you see them happy, or you see them in a certain situation or such, those may be real. And it's a fine line of determining whether it is true or not. But I guess the key here is, this is a matter of the spirit, of the ruh. And so Rasulullah gave simple advice, which was, if you see good things, that's from Allah. If you see bad things, it's from shaitan. Don't ruminate over it. Don't just, there's a famous scholar, Ibn Sirin. Some people, they just keep looking at dream interpretation, and that's all there is. That's not the case. But if you see something, there's no hurt in investigating, especially if it's repeatedly coming, or if you really think it's a sign. My personal experience, I had an auntie call my mother for interpretation of a dream. She has, book resources, other resources. But my mom wasn't, she was traveling to Saudi at the time. So I said, okay, auntie, I can search this dream up for you and find out. And so I searched the dream up, and there were different meanings. But one of the meanings that Ibn Sirin gave for some of the tooth falling out, his son kept seeing the dream of a tooth falling out, was death in the family member. And when I said that, then the auntie's like, that's a meaning too, right? Because I heard that from somewhere and all. And I said, yes, that's a meaning too. Allah alam. I hope, I wouldn't, bet on it or anything else like that. But it may be true, it may not be true. That's, the type of attitude I gave, because Allah alam what the dream actually means, and you have to. There's people that qualify for it. So, anyways, that auntie, I think I forgot about to tell my mother. I think 6 months later or something, that auntie visited her son in New York, and I got news. My mom was sad one day, and I was like, "What's up?" She said, "That auntie, you remember her? She used to give you gifts and this and that." And I said, "Yeah." I didn't tell my mom that she called, a couple months ago. She said she just got a heart attack and she died at age 60. So subhanAllah, that sign came, and then later on, what happened? Allah's plan was there. So these things are already. This is part of another sign for us, or a belief that qadr is real. Allah has a plan, and in another dimension, it's already been and done. You could say that's there. I've heard, or someone has said also, based on the interpretation, things will happen. Like one dream, someone says that, hey, oh, this means that you'll be rich, or another person says, oh, you'll be poor. That will happen. I haven't heard any of those narrations, and I think that's a bit made up. In the end of the day, I think key here is keep your dhikr, keep your prayers, up your spirituality, and develop that ruh to overcome the nafs, the ego, right? The spirit to overcome the ego. And then these things will become more natural and more open. And then lastly, take dreams with a grain of salt. And if something's really intense or really real, or you really feel that it means something, then you can investigate through proper channels or through different spiritual people if you feel that there could be benefit in investigating the meaning. May Allah give us true understanding and open our spirits to the reality of His oneness. Ameen Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum.